Oh, the Knicks, what a week. After two supersized losses to Boston and Cleveland, we must ask, can they even take Boston and Cleveland in 5 games? That's a question, but it also could be a statement. And speaking of statements, the Knicks' interior defense made a statement this past week, and it was, please send help. Unfortunately for the Knicks, they were blown out by the Celtics and the Cavs, with Luke Kornet shooting 7 for 7 from the floor against an undersized Knicks lineup that was without Mitchell Robinson.
Whatever defense they're in.
And then the Cavs stepped in and put up 142 on a helpless Knicks squad that had no answer for either Evan Mobley, who went 9 for 11 from the field.
Transition defensively. Here's Strus to Mobley, and that's a big...
Or Jared Allen, who was 5 for 6 in a quick night of 20 minutes.
Down the lane on Hakordi, he'll lay it in.
And why should they keep him on the floor when the Cavs bench put up 70 against the Knicks bench that can best be described as a group of players that are left when you consolidate your lineup for 2 big trades? Now, this is not a complete diss on the Knicks, so hold off on the accusations, threats, and exclamations. But do not hold off on listening up if you are a Knicks fan that hopes to graduate past the second round of the playoffs this season. And maybe the first round if things do not improve internally for New York. It seems OKC may have realized that Isaiah Hartenstein was a nice piece to the puzzle last year, as the Knicks went to the second round and probably would have made it to the conference finals if not for an injury to OG Anunoby. One thing the Knicks must address is their defense inside, and if they don't, it will be a quick finish this season, and Boston looms in the second round, if the Knicks even make it there. Boston plays D even better than they play offense, and we learned that again this past week when the Celtics dusted off the Knicks without a full lineup.
White for 3. Tremendous execution for the Celtics.
Boston is a complete team with stars, key role players that do everything well, and lots of smarts. Throw in the defense, leadership, and basketball IQ from their two-headed point guard of Drew Holiday and Derek White.
View this play for a potential clear path foul.
Plus their ancient but ageless center Al Horford, who keeps rolling at 38, and you can see why ball handling and passing might be a strength here.
Smart kicks it. Boy, he had a good look inside. Give it to Horford.
Oh yeah, they also have a 7'2" three-point shooter named Kristaps Porzingis. The Celtics also have Peyton Pritchard off the bench, giving them waves of guards to throw at any team.
Loves these. Puts it up half court of the buzzer. Bang!
This all sums up as trouble for the Knicks team that doesn't have great depth due to their consolidation trades. So this is a key factor in the Celtics' favor. But let's say we're talking about a close game, 5, 6, or 7. Who has the advantage here? Decidedly Boston.
Fouled, and it goes! Al Horford with...
But the Knicks can make them work for it, and with everyone healthy, it could be closer than the games so far this year. Or Boston might just have everything in tune and see ya. But okay, let's back up. The NBA is slowly recovering from a huge whirlwind trade deadline. And not to mention All-Star Weekend. And now the stretch run begins, onward to the NBA playoffs. It will be a wide open field it seems, with Cleveland threatening in the East and OKC in the West.
You get that little playing time and that's what happens.
Plus all the usual Boston, Denver, and LA entries, and maybe a surprise bid or two from Golden State, and who knows who else. One team with a particularly stocked starting 5 is none other than the New York Knicks, enjoying a playoff-filled past few years under Tom Thibodeau. Leon Rose, their executive in charge, has recently supercharged the effort to give Coach Tibbs maybe his most stacked deck yet, a team filled with scorers and defenders. The Knicks have started off 36-18, not bad at all, and it throws their name in the hat for teams that would like to be in it at the end. But do they have the right mix? And will they stay healthy in time for a playoffs that will feature all we mentioned plus the Indiana Pacers that defeated them in 7 tough games last season? Let's talk it over and take a look at the facts, and then throw out a few idle speculations just because. The rest of the NBA was busy on their off seasons last year, drafting, making trades, and signing free agents. But the Knicks had their own agenda, and it was a bold one. They executed not 1 but 2 major trades, seemingly under everyone's noses. Mikal Bridges was already an all-defensive player who proved he can score 20 points a game.
On the attack, Bridges able to float it in.
And there are scant few of these in the NBA. He's also played in the playoffs with Phoenix and in his prime. The Knicks gave up some of the draft stash and brought in Bridges, giving up very little in return this season.
Brunson on fire here.
It was a bit of a steal in our opinions, and it was half the story because somehow the Knicks pulled a heist grabbing Karl-Anthony Towns fresh off a 7-game win versus Denver in the Western Conference semis. One of the two key players in the deal was Donte DiVincenzo, who played well for them last year but was one of a deep unit that features his college teammates Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Hart shoots less than DiVincenzo but plays better defense and rebounds like a forward. If you need to know what Jalen Brunson does best, check the NBA top 10 leaders in points per game. He's a scoring machine, but not as effective on defense himself, especially when matched up with taller guards like Holiday and White in Boston. And that brings up a real conundrum here.
Arnstein looking to set a screen. Brunson goes the other way.
Good defense by Osman. Back door's open.
Brunson gets inside. Layup is good. Beautiful.
What's the best way for the Knicks to defend versus Boston? With a starting five of Brunson, Towns, and Bridges, plus OG Anunoby. But more on that in a moment. The other piece in the deal was all-star power forward Julius Randle, who missed the Knicks' playoff run last year with an injury. And while he's a great scorer and rebounder, so is Towns. But besides that, Towns is a threat to shoot from anywhere, and at 6'9", 265 pounds, that's a bit of an issue for defenses when he's hitting. Brunson can hit from the outside as well, and is extremely good at getting penetration to the basket, making the Knicks a highly versatile group on offense. Anunoby and Bridges are 3-and-D wings that have hot streak shooting. Hart and center Mitchell Robinson are lob and post threats. And there you have a starting five plus one with a high ceiling and low floor. The question is, how high? And that's the question of the hour in New York. Are these Knicks with 3 or 4 legitimate scoring options and a lot of defensive pieces ready to fight the Celtics and Cavs for right of way to the finals? The Knicks and Celtics certainly seem to be on course for that matchup, and it looks like the Celtics would be the first stop since they sit in the 2 spot and the Knicks in the 3. If each does what's expected in the first round, then that's what you can expect in the second round. We're assuming the Knicks don't find a major problem with the Bucks in the first round if they fall to the 6th spot. That's a whole other series of matchups to think about, but let's proceed with some analysis on a matchup of 2 teams in the Celtics and the Knicks, with booming offense-defense balance in their starting lineups and somewhat limited bench strength. Questions abound. Will the Knicks bench give them around 10 to 15 minutes a game of solid play? Will Porzingis be healthy for the playoff run? If Kristaps Porzingis is on the court, that mitigates the Knicks' big 2 of Towns and Robinson. But if not, Horford at 38 at center and Tatum at power forward will have a lot asked of them. The question for the Knicks is, will it matter? When the Celtics fell 2 times in 4 years to Miami, the Heat hit them with waves of defense in the starting lineup and off the bench, which is great, but let's face it. When it was the 4th quarter, it was Butler guarding Tatum and the results were 2 wins for Miami. Can Mikal Bridges and or Josh Hart keep Tatum from explosions of the 35-point or more sort? Let's see. But for now, the Celtics look primed to eliminate the Knicks in 4 or 5 games max, with Porzingis maybe turning out to be besides the point. If the Knicks can't slow down Luke Kornet, how do they hope to fare versus Kristaps? And this is assuming Horford doesn't have one of his breakout 3-point explosion games. We will concede that if there is one team in the NBA that has the personnel to handle Brown and Tatum, it might be the Knicks with Anunoby, Hart, and Bridges. The huge advantage the Knicks have, also, is those are their 3, 4, and 5 scoring options. They can D up all day and leave nothing behind, with Towns and Brunson taking plenty of shots. So matchup-wise, this is as good as you're going to get. Hart won a title in college with Bridges, and we mentioned Bridges has already played in the finals against Milwaukee, tasked with occasionally guarding Giannis, so there's experience there, and perhaps these matchups give the Knicks some hope. But off the bench, points are key in tight series, and without so much on the bench scoring-wise, the Knicks will have to ask Brunson and Towns for at least the 25 or so points a game we normally expect from them. Doable with the Celtics defense? Let's find out. Now you might be asking, so what do these Celtics do well? Well, let's see. They shred everything in their path with unrelenting skill on offense, starting with Jason
Tatum races up for 3 this time, and he's 2 for 2.
Who at times is impossible to stop. And if you don't believe us, ask the Knicks, who watched him score 40 on them last week in a blowout.
Ball screen, Tatum get downhill and punched it home.
Finish with Jalen Brown, who is a bit less of a threat for huge offensive nights, but is consistent in every aspect of his all-star game. When both are hitting, good luck. This past week saw Boston destroy the Knicks 131-104, and though players were missing on both teams, it wasn't pretty. Porzingis and Holiday were out, and the Celtics got a 7-for-7 shooting night from Luke Kornet, who is a very solid backup center. The Knicks were missing OG, a key figure last year until he got hurt and missed much of the Pacers series. Without OG to help on defense with Tatum, we don't think the Knicks can get it done, based on the 2 bad losses to Boston so far this year. But with him, plus Hart and Bridges, there's a chance. Tatum is a great shooter, but he's also great at rebounding. Anunoby counters that and has a strength advantage like Jimmy Butler did.
Anunoby leans inside and lays it up and in.
On the Celtics side, Horford matches up well with Towns and still has some legs left to chase him outside. But make no mistake, the Knicks need to win that matchup to keep going. Brunson is an offensive star, and while Holiday is a master defensive player and right behind him is Derek White, Brunson will look to score at will anyway. Can he be the Jimmy Butler type scoring machine that is needed to push the Celtics out of the playoffs?
Stay in front.
Boy, Brunson, guys, so good.
Will Towns give them matchup problems the way he gave Denver problems last year?
Tatum with another three, knocks it home.
Aaron Gordon a bit undersized to handle Towns' offensive game that moves from the paint to the three-point line? We will have to wait and see. And while all of this goes on, the Cavs try and build that lead in the standings to make sure the Knicks and Celtics square off before they get involved. Can the Knicks make Boston somehow go 7? Can Anunoby stay healthy and Towns stay productive against an extremely smart and well-coached Celtics team that is defending champs for a reason?
Gets inside and banks it in as the shot clock expires.
We have around 30 games left till the playoffs begin, and then it's go time. Either way, if you like, hit like to subscribe and leave comments with high approval or just plain bletch, and we'll catch you next time.